Y'all need to help Steven Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Steven Phillips.
All righty, folks. Good Friday morning. I reckon around the 8:30 mark, we're going to have Congressman Andrew Clyde on here, and he'll give us an update on what's going on with the big, beautiful bill that they have recently just passed into the, I guess, the Senate, right? It's going to the Senate next. The Senate. They sent it. Senate. They sent it to the Senate.
They did send it to the Senate.
Yeah, we should be.
And the Senate says, we hope to have this on the president's desk by July 4th.
Why don't they just bring it in there and vote on it and get her out of there the same day? I mean, like,
because the Senate doesn't like the House's version.
Yeah, I'm sure. So here we go again. A bunch of yahoos up there.
This one's going to take a while. It is not going to be on his desk by July 4th.
Yeah, this is, oh man, it's just, what do you think they want, man? They want to earmark it for all their constituents where they can get free money for all their people and all that nonsense.
Yeah, what that is typical, Stephen, what you just described. I mean,
yeah.
And hey, we can ask Andrew Clyde about that because he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, he has now just done it. The Corps of Engineers were supposed to close 21 parks around Lake Lanier because of staffing shortages, because of Doge. And Clyde went to the Corps and said, no, you can't do that. So they reduced it to 11 parks are going to be closed.
So why don't they just let the average citizen like take over the parks?
Because the average citizen is not responsible enough to be left to their own devices.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we can't trust.
I mean, the average citizen. You're the example. When they say, you know, if we just open this up to the average citizen, what would Steven Phillips do?
Man, I'd rock that.
And when they realized that you'd probably bring ATVs and drive around the parks, they say, you know, it's not a good idea to let Steven Phillips.
Wait a minute.
Well, then you wouldn't have staffing shortages because people would actually want to work there.
Yeah. How come it's okay to have a dang golf cart, but it's not okay to have like a side-by-side? What's the difference?
What's the difference? Golf carts are for golf courses.
You go to these RV places, everybody's got. I mean, that's like these retirees are like the show off of who's got the best and the highest and the biggest wheels on their golf cart. You know what I'm saying?
Aren't those all privately owned? None of those are government things.
Well, I'm saying, why don't you just rent them? Why can't they just lease them? I mean, like they did the Georgia Mountain Fair. Why don't they just lease them out to private public people that can go in there and make a little cash and bring some money to the area? Why not?
Why don't we lease them out to private public people? What are private public people?
That's us. That's me and you, man.
No, you're a public person.
I'm a private person too.
No, you're not. You spew all this stuff on the radio for an hour every morning. How can you be private?
Okay, you got 11 parks. Right, I don't know which one they are, but they're like RV parks or what are they?
Parks.
I mean, I know some parks you just go and you walk around, let your dog poop and pick it up and go on. But then there's other parks where you can actually put RVs in there, spend the night, overnight, and that kind of stuff.
And this is why they don't let you in charge.
Son, I've worked for myself my whole life. I have never not worked for myself my whole life.
How's that working out for you?
So far, so good.
You're probably the worst employee you ever hired, right?
I am the worst employee. Yeah, I'm the guy that gets.
I make my case.
I do all the stuff that nobody else wants to do. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. Hey, what y'all talking about this flag football? Y'all got flag football going on now in the Olympics?
Flag. There was an L in there.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't.
Flag football.
Throw me there for a minute.
Don't even start on what you thought that was.
Well, you Yankee accent, man. Y'all don't pronounce the words right.
Yeah. Did we ruin the flag football word? We ruined that word, right?
So what would you honestly, I'm going back to that. Why would they not let somebody lease the property, the parks out and do something with them? Why would they close them? Won't say, okay, we don't have staff.
Why would somebody want to lease the park?
Well, okay, the Georgia Mountain Fair is leased from the TVA. The property is.
Okay.
All right. Well, why can't they do something like that with this?
Well, I don't know that there's a bunch of people standing in line to want to lease the parks, are they?
You never know. There might be somebody want to say, hey, we can make this into a nice RV
But if
park.
somebody was leasing the park, aren't they leasing it to make money on it?
Well, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. But are the park goers willing to pay the price to get into the park that's now free because the government subsidizes that?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if it's a nice RV park, I can park my RV there.
They're not RV parks. What the heck's wrong with you?
I mean,
You got one picture. I say parks, you think RVs, right?
well, okay. Why can you not make it into an RV park? I mean, if you lease the property, do what you want to with it.
That's why they don't lease the property to private individuals like Steven Phillips.
Okay, so back in the day,
leasing the property, I'm going to do what I want with it. Right?
Back in the day, we used to ride motorcycles all over these mountains, and now you can't do that. You can't. And all these roads and these old roads that we used to ride on, these old logging roads, we always call them, which is basically what they were. They're growed up. You can't even walk down.
Okay.
So, I mean, what good is it to close a park and let it grow up and become skeeter infested and snake infested? Why don't we do something with them?
I think people who use the parks enjoy it just the way it is, right?
Well, but if you ain't got nobody maintaining it, it's going to start growing weeds and trees and
isn't that called nature?
Well, we got woods everywhere, man.
Okay.
But I'd say these parks have probably got some paved roads through them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you can bring your ATV in there and ride and that kind of stuff. Right. You're impossible. No.
You're incorrigible.
Oh, yeah.
And together we make a pretty good team because nothing ever gets done.
Hey, I got some breaking news here. Chris Christie, they said he needed to run. Chris Christie needs to run, they said. What do you think?
Where's he running to? Weight Watchers?
Yeah, he said Chris Christie needs to run, not for president. He just needs to run.
Oh, okay, yeah. He needs to run on the beach.
Yeah, he needs to run. Yeah, he needs to run. He might have been the guy that put the seashells out there.
Mm-hmm.
That Comey found. And how come Comey didn't take nobody out there and show them? Here's the seashells. Right here they are.
Didn't he take a picture of the seashells?
Yeah, but he didn't take nobody where they're at. Oh, here they are. Yeah. So anyway, hey, what we got? Andrew Clyde calling in, so y'all get ready to ask some questions. Y'all can bring them up on the YouTube channel, and so if you go to the YouTube channel, Steven Phillips in the Morning Dish, comment on that if you got a question for Andrew Clyde. And we come back, I'm gonna see what Pat Malone wants to ask him.
So we want to also remind you guys that we are currently doing our giveaway for the Night Ranger passes. We have 5 pairs of Night Ranger tickets to give away. On this coming Wednesday, we're going to do the drawing, and the grand prize is going to include a $97.70 check from us and also a $50 Oaks Lakeside Kitchen gift card. You can call in at any time during the show, and you can sing any Night Ranger song to get your name in the hat, or Pat Malone is going to get a trivia question for you. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go to a break.
All righty, we're back with you. If everybody's good. I reckon I got a teletype machine text over here. Said these parks they're talking about is like the mayor's park up there in Hiawassee, where they're boat ramps. So what it's so I don't know, but you could always take a boat ramp like up there at Mayor's Park. You could put some RV parks in up there and make a little cash. They got an ice machine, I think. Ain't it funny that the Mayor's Park in Hiawassee is actually in the county, not even in the city?
One of life's mysteries, huh?
Yeah, that's it. We all volunteer, Steve, to keep them trails, them old logging roads open. I'm with you, man. We used to ride, man, from where I don't know if y'all know where I live at, but we could ride from where we're at all the way across the mountain to Young Harris College and never see a house. Them days are over. Yeah, them days are over. All right, while we're waiting here, let's see what we got here. Breaking. I reckon Harvard University has lost they revoked their foreign student visa program. So they can no longer get foreign students into Harvard University. And I guess that's going to cut out the foreign students' money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think we're going with that?
Well, I don't understand on what authority.
What do you mean? What authority?
On what authority do they selectively pick Harvard to decline the visas?
Harvard hates Americans.
I
And they-
don't
and they
think that's true, Stephen.
oh yes, it is too. They're 90% liberal, man.
Harvard may hate you, but
No,
I don't think
I'm American.
Harvard hates Americans.
No, they do. I really think they
I think
do.
they literally have a class, Pat, called "You Should Hate America."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Honky white trash. Yeah. Hate honky.
101.
That's what it's called. Hate honky white trash redneck Americans. Yeah,
Okay.
no good. I think this
Uh,
what? I think that's
the
going to be.
the fake news continues. So
Are
go
you-
ahead.
Honestly, do you not think it's going to be a game changer? Because I mean, they get all that far.
I don't think the courts are going to uphold it, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, we got to go to the courts now, and they'll keep going to the courts.
So, well, wait a minute. Now, who perpetuated this?
I didn't do it.
Who took the action that eliminated the visas for students going to Harvard?
Let's see. I think Christy Nome. I might be wrong here. Oh, wait a minute. My telltime machine has just frozen.
Okay.
Let's see here. Christy Nome calls out. No, she just called them out. So I guess probably the Trump administration. I like the Trump administration. Do you not?
I noticed that you do.
Yeah, I do.
I love their goals.
Well, I reckon, yeah, DHS Secretary Christy Nome has sent a letter to Harvard informing them that their ability to enroll foreign students at their university has been revoked. So, I mean, I guess there's always somebody in control. There's somebody higher up that can say, hey, you can't do that anymore. And I can understand.
I understand that, but why wouldn't they do it for all universities in the United States?
Well, maybe
Why are they singling Howard and Harvard and Harvard's not the only liberal college in the United States.
Well, is Harvard not the one that's saying, we don't care what you say, we're still going to be DEI, and we're going to do the DEI thing, and we're all anti-Israel, and we're all anti-Second Amendment and Third Amendment and the Constitution.
You have a right to be anti-Israel. Like, nobody's saying you can't do that. And as a paid college, you cannot. Yes, you can. You could think however you want. It's not how you think. It's not allowing Jewish kids to go to class because they're being threatened. That's the problem. I mean, you could sit there and preach anti-Israel stuff if you want to, but you have to allow.
That would be discrimination, would it not be discrimination?
The kids are being threatened and they're not protecting their safety, is what this all boils down to. You can think however you want. They're not saying how you can think. Pat, so you're shaking your head, but you obviously don't follow the news, because kids were being beaten, they were being threatened, they weren't allowed to go to class. Like, the Jewish kids were told, do not go to class, take it from home.
Isn't that against the law?
It is. That's the point.
There we
Pat.
go.
So wait a minute, Packy. If that's against the law, why doesn't the person being threatened file charges?
I think they have.
Yeah.
Okay, then let the law handle it. Why is the federal government
Because
bigfooting?
they have a right to do that.
I'll tell you what,
Under what?
I'll find the law for you. I don't have the U.S. code,
I
blah blah
would
blah,
think
but I will find.
They're
usually
saying that they have the right because we're giving you federal money, therefore you answered us.
I think it's more to do with the federal government decides who's allowed to come into the country. Are they not? Isn't the president?
Yes, it is that, but they're arbitrarily doing it against Harvard and nobody else.
Because Harvard's breaking the law.
Why isn't the president of Harvard being arrested if he's breaking the law? Why hasn't he been charged? Why hasn't the board of trustees been charged? I mean, there's a way to do this and get the results that you want, and I don't think the current way is the right way to do it.
I do, man. Cut them, hit them.
I know you do.
Yeah, hit them where the money's at, because they get billions of dollars. They don't report. We don't know what it is. Yeah, they're getting the money. And if it's funded by the federal government, you have guidelines you have to go by. Right? Anything we do, you have guidelines you have to go by. Right?
Yeah, which is the fallacy about taking money from the government.
So why would you have a university that preaches anti-Israel and
They don't preach anti-Israel.
Oh, are you kidding? I tried to get in Harvard.
Pat, I mean,
what the heck? That isn't Dershowitz on the faculty at Harvard?
I have no idea. All I know is
I know you have no idea. That's the first true thing you've said on this Friday.
I know that people that's from Harvard used to be a big deal, and now everybody's like, "Oh, they're from Harvard. Oh, we don't want them. We don't have safe space in our program."
Okay.
Yeah, they're gone liberal, man. They've gone woke, and American people are sick of it. Do you not think so?
Stephen, they've been liberal since I can remember.
I know it. So why are we funding them now? It's the mega movement has moved in, and we are sick of y'all spending our money.
Because we're a country that believes you can believe whatever you like.
Yeah, but when you're spending my money, you're gonna think like I think. That's like that one fellow said, you own my property now. You think like I think.
Were we changing the name to Putin? It's my money. You're going to do what I think.
Dang right.
Yeah.
You hired me to mow your grass, and I'm like, I'm not going to mow your grass. I'm going to trim your flowers.
Our listeners are right. You operate in this silo.
Yeah.
Because you love the echo of hearing your own voice.
I'm telling you, man, if I give you my money, you're going to do what I say.
A school cannot harbor anti-Semitism and violence. I mean, if what you can,
does it have an anti-Semitism or a Semitism club? How's it harboring that?
Yes, it is.
When they allow demonstrations that are pro-terrorist demonstrations that are saying kill a certain group of people, that is against the Civil Rights Act, man. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
if it was, why weren't they charged by the laws that are on the books, Peggy?
Good question. I would like to see that too, but they're starting with cutting their funding off. That's kind of what you say.
But that's not the place to start. It's against the law to do what you're saying they're doing. Charge them with it, and let's have a trial. Let's do it the right way.
I think they should just take their money away and say that if we're not going to allow a bunch of kids over here chanting "Death to America, Death to Israel." Just stay home.
Let me ask
stay
you
in
this
Iraq,
question.
Stay in Afghanistan, stay in Africa, stay
okay,
over there
man.
if you want to do that.
This question: which is cheaper, for us to cut their funding off till they straighten up, or to go to court and sue them for 25 years? Which is cheaper, Pat?
It's not a question of which is cheaper.
Oh, yes,
it is a question of that.
Which is cheaper? Absolutely, it is. So, which is cheaper? Cutting their funding off? Hey, you're done.
Yeah.
Which is cheaper, Pat?
Which is right?
Cutting their funding off.
Yeah, I'm with you on
okay.
that.
There's two ways to think about it.
Well, you're in the silo with him,
Pat. I'm sorry, but I think you're the outlier. I think you're the outlier here saying we should.
On this show, I certainly am, because it takes
to let the hate
plus.
Let's continue to let the kids over here say "Death to America, Death to Israel." Let's kill white people. Let's continue to let them over there and give them our money. Sounds kind of dumb when you put it that way, doesn't it, Pat?
Yeah, you said it, Pecky.
Yeah,
not me. You said it.
You said it. That's what you're advocating for.
Yeah.
Let's keep sending the money. That's what you want to do, right?
I want them to do it the right way.
You want to keep sending the money now.
Since we're a law of lands, it ought to start with obeying the law. And if you don't, then you ought to be charged.
Do you want to keep sending them money now?
I would prefer that you do that. Yes.
Yes, there you go.
Wow.
Continue to stop messing with it.
Now who sounds dumb?
And if it's against the law, why don't we charge them?
It is against the law. It's called the Civil Rights Act, Pat.
Why aren't we charging them then? This
Yeah,
administration is useless. They don't even enforce the law when they ran on Law and Order platform.
Then why do they keep winning Supreme Court case after Supreme Court case?
Okay.
Yes, they've lost a couple, but they've
Peggy, check the scoreboard on the Supreme Court cases. It's about 50-50.
That's pretty good,
reaction?
really.
Which reaction will we get faster? By cutting their funding, by cutting their money, or taking them to court? Which one will get the fastest results?
Hey,
which
you
one?
know what? I could make a lot of money if I just take out a gun and start sticking up people. That's the fastest way to get money. I don't want to work. Let me just get my pistol and go stick up people.
I'm asking you, which will get the fastest reaction on this? Which will take care of it quicker? Cutting their funding off, their billions and billions of dollars of money that they're getting, or taking them to court for 25 years? Which result is faster?
Harvard's going to take them to court.
But they ain't gonna have no money.
You're still gonna get the 25-year court battle,
Right.
and you're going to look stupid in the process.
No, you're not, because they ain't gonna have all that foreign aid coming in to support all this nonsense. They're gonna be like, dang, we can't hardly keep
They
going.
got
We
$53
can't afford these
billion
laws.
dollars in a equity fund.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because they report it.
They don't have to report the foreign funding.
They report all their funding.
They do not, Pat. You need to check in on that.
Okay.
We have no idea how much foreign aid they get from foreign countries. Do not know that. You don't know that.
Okay.
Man, I'm trying to see your point of view, but
You-
I can't get my head that far up.
There are times that you wake up worse than normal. Today is one of those days.
Well, anyway, all right, we have got, hopefully, we're going to take a break. We come back. Andrew Clyde should be calling in the next few minutes. And, but we want to give a big shout out to Bannister Cooper Funeral Home. And what's the giveaway we got going on, Pat?
Pat or Packy? Which
I can't keep y'all apart.
you can't tell the difference at
Well,
this
you got
point?
a ye and a, yeah.
Hey, we got some passes to give away. 5 passes, 5 pairs of passes to Night Ranger coming to town next weekend. And you can win those by calling in at any point and singing a Night Ranger song. You just get your name in the hat, or Pat Malone's got some trivia questions ready for you. So,
All righty, we're back. Well, yeah, we're here. Where is it? Where is he at? Hello? Is anybody here but me?
I'm with you, Steven.
Hey, Pat, listen, I just talked to Jeff, and he's going to cut your funding, but he still wants you to do the radio show.
Yeah.
You good with that?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to continue.
There's precedent now. As long as Trump does it, it must be okay.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to cut your funding. You're still going to do the show. Okay. Yeah, okay. That should work out good.
I don't know how my funding is so small. I don't know how you cut it.
who's laughing in there?
We've been arguing. Congressman Andrew Clyde, I am so sorry. Yeah, we've been in a big argument. You missed out on all the fun. How are you this morning?
Well, good morning. Well, slightly sleep deprived, but that's okay. You know, I'm good. We're good.
Well, how is everything? I mean, you have been up there fighting tooth and nail with this big, beautiful bill, and I reckon we finally got it all wrapped up. So how do you feel about it?
Well, I'll tell you, there's still some work to be done on the bill. Fiscally, it's not quite where we want it to be, but you know, it's in the Senate now. But it was good enough that we passed it, and was very excited about that. Very excited about the Second Amendment win that we got in the bill. I'm sure you guys have seen that already.
Oh yeah.
But but I think we got enough strong financial wins in it, where it brought down the spending curve and started to push a little more of the spending into the out years and bring the savings to the closer to the beginning here, because it's famously what Congress does. You know, it's the spending on the front end, and it's the quote savings on the back end, and you put it all together over 10 years, and you say, oh well, we're saving money. Well, the spending always happens on the front end, but on the back end, the savings doesn't always happen. You know, the spending cuts don't always happen, and that's what we're trying to ensure is the case here. And so we pushed the work requirements up, the Medicaid work requirements, and then we balanced the Medicare and the Medicaid payments. And then actually, you know, Georgia is not what's called an expansion state, and a Medicaid expansion state. Obamacare created this incentive, this second category of individuals called working age adults that are not working. Okay.
Right.
And they gave them Medicaid, and they incentivized the states, because Medicaid is a state-run program. They incentivized the states to bring these people onto Medicaid. You know, there's a cost sharing between the state and the federal government when it comes to Medicaid. And for the vulnerable population, it's you know, the elderly, the disabled, you know, the women with small children, the low-income folks, etc. There's a cost sharing of, if the state spends $1, then the federal government spends $1.33. Okay.
Right.
Well, this expansion population was vastly different in in expenditure ratio. In this expansion population under Obamacare, if the state spends $1, the federal government spends $9. It is a 7 times increase of the able-bodied over the most vulnerable, and it's wrong. Okay. And so Georgia is not one of those expansion states. There are 10 states, mostly in the South, that have not expanded and have not, taken the hook of this Obamacare socialized medicine. And so what we decided to do is to encourage these states not to expand and not to take that, $1 for $9 because it's bankrupting our country.
Mm-hmm.
The blue states have taken it. Many of the red states have not. So we actually are increasing by 10% the Medicare, the money going from the federal government to the state, only to those states that are not expanding. And I know that's kind of, in the weeds here, but we in Congress have to get in the weeds to ensure that the text actually reflects what the president wants to do.
Congressman, I have 2 questions. One, the work requirement effective date. Why isn't the effective date the day that the law passes? Why does the effective date have to be initially, what was it, 5 years out, and now it's only 2 years out?
Well, it's about 1.5 years out, actually.
Okay, that's my first question. The second question is, how does a tax on suppressors attack the Second Amendment?
Oh, easy, very easy. All right, let me answer your first question first about work requirements.
Okay.
It was absolutely ridiculous that work requirements started in 2029. I mean, that's just nuts. It's like telling your 20-year-old kid that doesn't have a job, hey, you've got to go get a job if you're going to stay living at home, but you got 4.5 years to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just ridiculous. Okay, so we brought it back to 2026, and it's because of a few things. Number one, for CMS to write the regulations, all right, they said it's going to be, up to 6 months to do it. Well, I think that's a very poor comeback, all right? And then the states, because it's actually a state-run program, the states need to create regulations or actually pass legislation to implement that within the states. And the states, as you know, like Georgia, we don't go back into session until January. So they're going to have January through May to pass the regulations to implement the new work requirements that the federal government is requiring. So there's going to be some time there that's necessary. I'm believing that this can be done within a year. And, the work requirements, if the states want to push it up, they can push it up. All right. But we've given them that literally that time of next year to get the legislative, the state legislative part of it completed. That's
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Now on the Second Amendment part.
Yep.
You wanted to know why are suppressors taxed?
No, I wanted to know why was that an attack on the Second Amendment?
Oh, taxation. Let me. All right. Any taxation on the Second Amendment, excise tax, all right, is a massive attack on the Second Amendment. Chief Justice John Marshall, one of the most amazing Chief Justices of our Supreme Court, said in 1819, the power to tax includes the power to destroy. If you can tax a constitutional right, then it's really not a constitutional right at all. Because if you can tax it a little bit, you can tax it a lot. And you can make the tax so high that no one can use that constitutional right. Think about 1934. Suppressors in 1934 were $6.50 approximately. And they added a $200 tax onto buying a suppressor, not just the manufacturing of it, but the transfer of it. So if I made it, there was a $200 tax stamp. If I transferred it to you, Pat, there's a $200 tax stamp on a $6.50 item. It basically evaporated suppressors from the market for over half a century, simply because no one could afford it. It's taxation is the most egregious infringement on the Second Amendment that there is.
And then
that makes sense.
They can move that into guns or anything else they want to. Once you open the door, it just opens.
Andrew, Pat won't understand that. He's British.
I don't understand why these able-bodied citizens are getting Medicaid and Medicare and all the free funding. How do they even get on it? I mean, it makes no sense to me. I mean, and people are begging people to go to work, and nobody wants to work. And I feel like it's because they're getting a check from the government. How do they even get on it?
Obamacare. It was started about 15 years ago when Obamacare started, and it was a way, literally, we thought Obamacare was pushing towards Medicare for all, but actually it's Medicaid for all. Obamacare is pushing for socialized medicine so that literally the government can control your health care. And if they can control your health care, they have a massive, highway into controlling you. And that's not what this country is about. We're free enterprise. We're freedom and liberty for everybody. And the more government expands, the more your liberty contracts.
You're right. And
So,
you can't help people that won't help themselves. We all know that. That's been proven time and time again. But it's just, and people are sick and tired of paying for people just to sit at the house and do nothing. So I don't know. I'm with you on that. What are some tax cuts? What kind of tax cuts? How much money am I going to get to keep? What's going on with that?
well, I will tell you that on the tax cut side, we're extending the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, so that prevents literally a 22% increase in taxation. So we're avoiding that. All right. The it repeals the EV mandate. Okay. It defunds Planned Parenthood. There's no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. It slashes the taxes on senior citizens. This is another one that we fought on really hard.
Andrew, come back. How does it slash the taxes on senior citizens? There's a $4,000 additional credit for senior citizens.
Well,
is that what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about. That's right. Right. It doesn't eliminate it because we weren't able to get it that far. Although we do have a second, once we pass this one, we have a second opportunity at budget resolution. In fact, I'm of the opinion that we should do as many budget resolutions, budget reconciliations and budget resolutions as we possibly can. We can do one every fiscal year. So this one is 2025 that we're working on right now. And we should be, as soon as this one is complete and the president signs it on July 4th, we should be working on 2026 budget resolution. And go ahead.
Isn't the process of reconciliation the reason why you couldn't remove the taxes on Social Security?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that question, Pat. I'm not. No, if it has to do with taxes, okay, then it should fit in budget reconciliation because the criteria is affecting the budget as opposed to like the straight policy. If it's just straight policy and really doesn't have an effect on the budget, either up or down on the budget, then the Byrd rule of the Senate, all right, will make it not valid to go into budget reconciliation.
But I thought there was something in the original Social Security legislation that prohibited it from not going through the normal 60 vote process to get to the floor.
Well, I can't answer that, Pat. I'll have to look that up and see.
Okay. Pat's all worried about I want you worried about, Pat. You're old. You ain't got much longer. You ain't got a whole lot more to pay. Just
I want as much as I can get in the time I got left.
So.
Well, I want you to have as much as you can too, Pat.
Thank you, Congressman. Send me my checks, will you?
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to the Senate. What are they going to dismantle this thing and be right back where we started?
Well, no, I don't think so. I will tell you this. What's called the SALT exemption, state and local tax exemption. The New Yorkers, the folks from the blue state in Congress, worked quite hard to increase the SALT tax exemption from $10,000 to $40,000. That actually cost us about $325 billion. All right. And I think that exemption is probably going to go away because there's no reason in the world that blue states, because they have, high taxes,
Mm-hmm.
should be subsidized by red states that don't. And there is not a solitary Republican senator from a blue state. I mean, it's not an issue for the Republican senators. So I think they're probably going to strip the SALT deduction out of it in the Senate and send it back to the House. And once it comes back to the House, it's going to be real hard for any Republican to vote against it, especially, on the conservative side, we're going to love it because it's going to reduce the deficit by $335 billion over 10 years.
Well, I'm all for reduction. Yep, I'm all for that. So,
well, people in blue states don't like it, then elect representation that lowers your taxes, right?
There you go. You're exactly correct. But they elect representation that literally funnels more federal money into their state, and that federal money comes from all the other states. And time and time again, the Democrats, when they're in charge, they figure out ways to funnel federal money into those blue states, so the blue states can spend and spend and spend. And we don't believe in doing that here in red states.
No.
Our legislature, our Republican legislature here in Georgia, is actually fairly frugal. Okay, when it comes to the other legislatures, we have a balanced budget amendment. We have a surplus right now in the state budget, and I mean, we really are very much of a model for the other states, especially when it comes to healthcare.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, we got to take a quick break. Do you want to hang out with us for the next final portion of the show, or you got to go?
Does it end at 9?
Yep, ends at 9.
Yeah, I'll hang out with you.
All righty, folks, we're back with you. We got Congressman Andrew Clyde, and I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. I noticed you'd sent a letter to the TVA. Any update on the draining the lake around the area here in towns in Clay County?
Well, thank you for mentioning that, because that is one thing I wanted to talk about. Yes, Representative Edwards from the North Carolina side of the lake and I joined together and sent a letter to TVA. The new president of TVA had just sent out a letter saying, hey, we want to make sure that TVA serves the people and that we encourage economic development and that. And so we capitalized on that letter and sent him one back asking that TVA, for every option that they have, on the lake, that they do an economic analysis of it and see what it will do to the local economies. And I think that's very, very important, because we want to protect these local economies. I mean, I have just from my point of view and in looking at their options, I think I have a favorite of theirs. And it is one that I believe will have the least impact on the lake economically. And they can probably do it in sections and do it during the off months of the year for Lake Chattooga, during the winter months, basically. And but we sent that letter to TVA earlier this week, so we haven't had a response yet. I imagine it'll take them, a few weeks at least to give us a good, thorough response to our letter. But we are staying engaged, and we will monitor exactly what TVA does, and we will lean in to make sure that the local surrounding folks on Lake Chattooga are not disadvantaged economically.
Well, we sure appreciate. I know I hate to put this on you, man, but a lot of folks feel like you're our only hope. So there's a lot weighing on your shoulders here in the local area, man.
Well, hey, you guys were the ones that broke the story to me, if you will remember.
Oh, we don't want the contractors that's building the high-speed rail in California to do this project.
I don't either. Trust me. I want the folks that built the Pentagon in a year to do this project.
Yeah. We want some Amish people to come down here. They can build a barn in a day and a half. Yeah, send some Amish people down. Anything else on this big, beautiful bill that they're talking about that, everything, the headlines, but are there anything in there that's not being reported that's pretty interesting to the, or beneficial to the taxpayers?
Well, I did mention that we're eliminating the vast majority of the Green New Deal subsidies, okay? Mm-hmm. The wind and solar subsidies, because wind and solar actually destabilizes the grid, right? Because it's not reliable energy on a consistent basis, not like nuclear is and not like gas and coal-fired.
Right.
They're very constant and consistent, but but solar and wind is just not. And but so we eliminated those subsidies literally and saved like $600 billion over 10 years, which is a great, a phenomenal thing. It was part of the Inflation Reduction Act, as it is affectionately called by the Democrats.
Yeah.
But we're stripping those subsidies. Let me tell you, the government should not be subsidizing anything.
I'm with you.
Literally. We're a free market society, and the market should determine what succeeds and what doesn't based on what the people want and not the government. That's not our job. So that's one of the things that's in there. And also in the Senate, we're working to get short barrels, the taxation of short barrels out, just like we got the taxation of suppressors out. We're working to get the taxation of short barrels out as well. So that's still something hot on the plate. And we've got a few weeks to work that. And I will be the point of the spear on that as well.
Well, Pat, you got anything else?
Just tell me about the resolution.
We're done, Pat. Too late.
Okay, can't.
Andrew, we love you, man. I'm going to tell you on this Medicare and Medicaid stuff, all these working able citizens, I'm telling you, if they can do the wild thing, they don't need a check. That's the way you can cut that out. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You guys are great.
Hey, we love you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
I love you guys too. Great to see you on WCRB.